Hey guys, this is Pete and we're doing Pete's Eats cooking videos. Today I'm going to show you how to make a wonderful pork cutlet or schnitzel. You can do this with pork, you can do it with chicken or veal. Have you ever been out at dinner or maybe you're grabbing a sandwich somewhere and there's a really nice cutlet in there and you think, gee, how did they make that so nice? Well, today's your lucky day because we're going to make it. So let's begin. Here's what you're going to need to make the schnitzel today. Of course, I'm using pork tenderloin, but you can use chicken breasts, or you can use veal, or any other meat you want to make the cutlet out of. I'm also using oil, and I'm going to use sunflower oil to fry the cutlets in. I like sunflower oil because it's got a mild taste and it's got a fairly high smoke point. Olive oil is not an oil that you want to be frying these cutlets in, so don't use olive oil. Also, in terms of spices, I've got pepper, salt, paprika, a little bit of paprika, and also the herbamare that I've talked about a number of times. It's a really nice blend of spices. You will also need breadcrumbs. Now, I bought a big pack of breadcrumbs from the bakery. I went right to the bakery and they gave me a large portion, really economical if you get them from the bakery. And also, I will need some flour and some eggs. In addition to that, you need a tenderizer, which is some kind of a mallet or maybe a rolling pin. Parchment paper is absolutely essential. You'll see that in a second. Plus a couple of bowls, a nice high-sided frying pan, and a few other things that you'll see in a minute. Don't forget, all of these will be in the bar below. We're going to cut the pork tenderloin into medallions. The bigger the medallion, the bigger the cutlet will end up being. So I'm going to do them in about inch width portions, maybe a little bit less as I go up the tenderloin. And when we get up to the top, you'll notice there's a membrane underneath. We don't want to cut through that membrane, so we want to slide the knife across. See the membrane? I'm just going to cut down, and as soon as I get to the bottom, I'm going to slide it across and leave that membrane there. It's not the end of the world if you get the membrane in there, but it's better if you don't. There you go. So here are the medallions. They're all cut up into little pieces. And what we're going to do now is we're going to tenderize these between parchment paper to form them into the schnitzel cutlets. So what we're going to do now is we're going to form this into a cutlet. So I have parchment paper. Make sure do not use wax paper. You want parchment paper. Parchment paper can really take the beating. So all I do is I've got my medallion there, I fold over the parchment paper, and I'm going to now pound this into a schnitzel size piece, okay? So here I go, I'm going to use this mallet to do that. So what I've done is I've pounded this down to about maybe 1/8 of an inch, and the trick is to get it thin enough so that it'll be nicely tenderized, but you don't want it so thin that it breaks apart when you handle it, right? So that's kind of like the trick. If you want, you can have much thicker cutlets, but trust me, I think most people like the thinner cutlets just about this thickness. So there you go. It is going to take me about 10 or 15 minutes to get through this bunch. So we'll see you when I'm done. If you don't have a mallet, feel free to use a rolling pin. No big deal. You can even use a 2x4, whatever you have. Okay, I'm going to prepare the station here. I'm going to start with the breadcrumbs, which I've got about probably 4 cups of breadcrumbs here. And I'm going to spice them up with the spices. I'm going to put a little bit of salt, probably about a teaspoon of salt, some of the herbamare mixture, probably also about a teaspoon of that. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. I'm also going to put some paprika in there. I might do about a teaspoon or even a little bit more of that. And also some pepper. And of course you can use any other spices that you like, your family enjoys. You can put those in there. I like pepper. I think it gives it a nice little bit of a bite. So I wanted at least a teaspoon or so of that. And the key is obviously to mix it all up. So this is about 4 cups, maybe a little bit more of breadcrumbs. and I'm just going to mix that all up so it's ready to go. I also have flour here. The flour we do not season, it's just plain old everyday flour. And I've taken about six eggs, and I've lightly beat 6 eggs just with a fork, just to break up the yolk, okay? And now I'm ready to roll. So the idea is I take one of the cutlets and I'm going to just coat it first in flour. So nicely coated in flour. Then I'm going to add it to the egg wash. I'm going to now wash it in the egg mixture. And then I'm going to put it right into the breadcrumbs. And away we go. That's going to be one done in a second. One and done. And probably the best way is just to use your hands if you're okay with that. And that's a lovely breaded cutlet right there. Nice breaded cutlet ready to go into the oil. I'm going to do the rest of these and we'll meet you in the frying pan in a minute. I've got about a ½ inch, maybe a little bit more of oil, of sunflower oil in my frying pan. It's a high top frying pan so that I'm not worried about any spillage. And I want to just check and see if this is high enough. It's on medium-high heat and it's been going for a bit, and I can see the oil is kind of like starting to move around a bit. But just see how it is. So I'm going to test it with a little piece. That's not quite high enough. I'm going to wait a little bit more. I want it to get a nice little bit of a bubble on it when it drops in. So that isn't quite hot enough, but we're really close, okay? Now I think it's ready, so I'm going to put a large cutlet in, and let's give it a try. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. Now keep in mind, when I put that cutlet in, it's going to lower the temperature of the oil. So we'll just give that a second before I put the second one in. Every time I put a new cutlet in, it's going to lower the temperature of the oil. Once it's done, I'm going to transfer it to the draining area here, so I get all of the oil off it before I transfer it to the tray. There we go. She's floated up nice. We're ready to go. I'm putting the second one in. Now I just have to keep track of the turning. Okay, this first cutlet is done. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm going to transfer it to the draining mechanism I have here. And we'll just let that one drain off of it, and I'll put a new one in. That's a beautiful cutlet. So now that I've got a bunch of cutlets done, I'm going to put them on the parchment paper, which is on the tray. And we're going to put them in a warming oven at about 190 degrees. And just let them stay warm until they're all done. Look how beautiful these are, eh? Unbelievable. These are absolutely gorgeous cutlets that your family is going to just love. So now they're ready to go in the warming oven. Here are the cutlets. Fabulous schnitzel. The best in town is going to be at your house when you make them this way. Thank you to a really good friend of mine for requesting this recipe. They've had it a number of times at our place and they were dying for the recipe. Now it's yours. Enjoy.